Deadside is on the verge of greatness. The 1.0 release came out recently, and I believe I have covered Deadside before on this channel, and I remember liking it then, and I probably said the classic trope of early access games, which is it's got potential. I always try to avoid that, but like I don't know if it's my general attitude. Maybe I'm more inclined to be optimistic when it comes to these early access games because it's like I'm an understanding guy. I maybe optimistic isn't the word, right? Because like I would most definitely associate myself as being a realist, right? And unfortunately, realism is very close to pessimism, right? The line is very thin. And I've been called a bummer before. Just recently, one of my coworkers told me, he's like, when I first met you, man, and you were explaining to me how this job is, man, he's like, I thought you were a bummer. And I was like, I found it funny, but I was like, I wasn't trying to be a downer. I was just being honest. I'm like, look, this is how the people are. But he said that in due time, he found out what I mean. And honestly, that's a recurring theme in my life, right? Like I always tell people how it is, and they don't accept it at first. They'll kind of go like, maybe I was a little too real, maybe even pushy, even though I don't mean to be that way. But I was like, look, this is the way it is. I'm gonna give it to you as raw as possible. And then at first they don't digest it well, and then as time goes on, they kind of go like, yeah, I think he was right. That's happened to me a lot. I mean, of course, not always, right? You know, surprise. Um, it's very easy to look at Dead Side as an early access game and go like, "Oh yeah, it's got potential and also it's still brewing." It's no longer an early access game. So, it's a 1.0 release, so it's officially out of early access and it's pretty strong, right? Like the offering, the 1.0 release, it's pretty strong. There are some things I like and there are some things I don't like. Do I feel like it should be 1.0 status? Yes. I do feel even in a server right now that I would say is the most populated I've ever seen since its stay in early access, right? Like there were always issues with like rubber banding and lag and crashes sometimes. I don't remember too many crashes, although I'm pretty sure a few happened, but lag, goddamn, rubber banding was such a huge issue back then in the early access Deadside days. And I rarely encounter that now. I think they did overall, don't get me wrong, overall, I think they did a damn good job at making this game much more playable than it was, right? Don't get me wrong, there's still no crashes yet, but there's still a little bit of lagging, a little bit of rubber banding. Sometimes that was on my end. Like I realized that my internet was acting wonky. Uh, Surprise, surprise, but I realized that like it's better to cycle your internet every single day or your router. And what I mean by that is like shut it off for like 30 seconds daily and then shut it back on. I have not done that today just yet, but I am going to if I remember after I finish recording this. But overall, it's a pretty strong offering. Dead Side being a 1.0 release, like it's $20 right now. At least it was last time I checked. Well fucking worth it. I seen this game for $10 on sale and $20 is like such a phenomenal price for this game. Like it's more than honestly, if it was like maybe 40 bucks. You know, 40 even $40 would be reasonable. I think 30 would probably be the 35 would be the sweet spot, but I think its base price is it actually might be $30, but I remember it's on sale right now at the moment as of December of 2024. I'll let you know right now exactly. Yeah, its base price is $25. What a deal. What a deal. But right now it's for $20 till December the 19th. So get yourself a little Christmas gift. I don't have to wait till the end of the video to tell you I fully recommend this game. This game's awesome. You know, like it really is. I've been playing it the last couple days. I have played it a lot before. So no surprise there. In fact, like I said earlier, I think I recorded an entire video about it. I don't remember. I recorded so many of these things. Um, but here's the thing, right? Even though it's such a strong offering off the like coming out of the gate, right, at 1.0, what do you have to offer, right? Lots of cleanup, right? Like, I do like the fact that you have the bleeding damage now. I hope that they continue to add on to the list of ailments, and like, it doesn't necessarily need or injuries and stuff like that. It doesn't necessarily need the level of death that like a game like Green Hell or Escape from Tarkov has, right? Where you have to like nurse your wounds in the middle of a fucking battle. Although that's welcomed personally for me, but I would say for the most part, you could make it a little more fast paced and, kind of had a more simplistic healing system. And I feel like they have taken notes from that, and the direction that they're going looks like that's the direction that they're going. I've never played Rust, but it's going for like um, that kind of direction in more ways than one. But definitely with the healing system, like it's very quick. Eating is very fast. Healing up is very fast. Bandaging yourself up is really fast. Drinking is really fast. I kind of have a problem with that. I miss it taking a while. Like there was something cool. I know I'm crazy for this, or maybe someone else out there feels the same way I do. But like there were times in Deadside where we'll be hanging around like the not the water cooler, but like let's say a well or something like that, or some sort of a water spout, and all of us have our flasks out, and it takes a while for you to drink it. At least back then it did, not so much anymore. But back then it took a while for you to not only drink it, that the actual routine of you drinking it took a while, but also for your thirst meter to go up, right? That took a while too. Now everything's almost instantaneously, and it feels rushed, and intentionally, right? Because it's at its core, it's a PvP game, right? There are PvE modes. God bless them for that, right? You already know how I feel. I'm team PvE all the way, right? But nothing against PvP, man. Like this game, you can tell that it's supposed to be very similar to like, it's Tarkov-ish slash like Hunt Showdown-ish. You know what I mean? It's like it has extraction shooter elements, but it also has this element of like permadeath, right? Like your character can die, and there's not necessarily, you don't have any stats, you don't level up, there's no perks and nothing like that. You're really as good as your equipment, your gear. And if you're playing PvP and you get shot to shit and you're dead, like there is a low chance you're gonna get your stuff back because they're gonna pick your body clean, right? You might come back, you might get like a fucking lighter or some shit that they didn't need. Um, so but it's cool that they have a PvE mode. And here's the thing, right? When you read the description, like the the guy who wrote this, which the company's called Bad Pixel. Correct me if I'm wrong because I've been reviewing. Well, I'm gonna say reviewing. I'm making it sound like I'm some sort of a professional. I'm just a fucking guy on the internet talking shit. Join the squad, right? I think everyone does that, even professionals. But I think that I lost my train of thought here. Oh yeah, so Bad Pixel, I believe, was one person, right? I don't know. I may be wrong. Like I said earlier, I review so many of these games that they all kind of blend in together, especially in the early access phase, where all early access is pretty much the same, right? They're all like, just have patience with us. We're building the game, and there's only one person, or a team of four, or a team of eight, and you're just like, wow, this like, I think fucking The Forest was like a team of four people or something like that. I think originally, which like I when I think about it even today, it still blows my mind of how phenomenal of a game The Forest is, and such a small team of people that did it. I think Bad Pixel was originally one person, and then eventually they got bought out, or he got bought out by Tiny Pixel, I believe. They make a bunch of little pixelated games that are pretty cool. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Bad Pixel was actually more than one person. But either way you put it, I can understand. They my biggest gripe with Deadside was that it was in early access for like 6 years or something along that line, which is quite a long time. And not a lot, don't get me wrong, there has been a lot of progress, but at the same time, the game has remained almost the same, right? With just minor upgrades or moderate upgrades, nothing super major, right? Like the biggest upgrades that I've seen so far from the last time I played it in early access to the 1.0 release is I've seen a bunch, but the major ones would be vehicles, right? People were asking for vehicles forever. Me personally, I didn't care so much because I'm used to running in these games and people get tired of it, and I get it. But these vehicles so far, the only ones I've ridden and been in are like motorcycles that ride like fucking tanks. The handling is terrible. Maybe that's intentional. Maybe they're still working out the kinks. I'm not sure, but I hate riding in that thing. But you got to do it, if you want to get from A to B quickly, especially if you're playing a PvE server and you just got killed and you're trying to get to your gear as quick as possible because you're scared you might get logged out by mistake or something. And next thing you know, you lose your gear forever, which personally I'm a fan of. I know I sound crazy, and I know I'm in the minority of gamers here, in the demographic of gamers when I say this, but I want the game to be more hardcore on PvE. Like Tarkov, right? Like you're playing against these bots that can just one shot you in the face. I'm not asking for difficulty. As a matter of fact, I would like Tarkov to be less difficult. Like I don't want to get shot in the face as soon as I come out of a raid, come into a raid, which has happened to me before, by the way. There were times I logged into a raid and I was getting shot in the process of spawning. I'm not joking. Like I had like stomach like injuries and shit, and I had to shoot this one fucking scab. I was playing as a PMC, I believe. So what I'm saying is, I don't want. I don't like. I want the game to be hardcore in the sense that you can lose all of your progress, all of your gear. I want that, but I don't want the game to be super unfair and cheap, where you're getting headshotted by a bot with a shotgun from 500 yards away. Um, so yeah, it's a delicate balance, right? To make a game hardcore but also fair, right? That's asking for like, hey, I want the game to be easy and hard at the same time. It sounds like what? It's like two things that contradict each other. But personally, I don't want. I would like for. I have a. I play with a little squad, and there's this one guy in our squad, good dude, but he's gung ho, right? Like he'll be in the middle of a mission and no cover or anything for the most part, and he's just gunning people out in the open. He's getting shot the fuck up all the time, right? And he loses his shit. He dies, and then he would have to run back all the way from his spawning point, wherever that may be, or maybe he put down a bedroll, and that would be his routine, right? During a mission, he would die 4 or 5 times and eventually would beat the mission. And he doesn't worry too much because he can always get his gear. And I have a problem with that because that's like exploiting, right? It's like, oh, I don't have to worry about it. I got like 6 bedrolls around the corner. If I die, I'll just respawn on one of them. No problem. Get my gear. I feel like if you lose your gear, you play more smarter. So it gives you this what can I say? This fear, this extra gear to play better, to be more strategic, to use cover, to not stand out in the open and shoot people. And I personally would like that. And I think you can get that if you rent a personal server or a private server. Last time I heard, you can't use your own server. You can't have your. Not that I would know how to do that. That shit is over my head. Although I'm pretty sure I'll figure it out, but I'll fuck it up somehow. I think there are official websites where you can host or rent a server with Deadside, and you can set one of the options to permadeath, I believe, even in PvE mode. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would love to play in a server like that. Maybe I know they have this option. I think G Portal has. You can rent it out for 3 days for like $7, and I'm like, maybe I'll try it just to see if that's more of my taste. But yeah, I would like that personally. I would like in PvE mode. I would like the fact that, not the fact. Sorry, I would like for it to have permadeath in the sense that you lose all your shit and you can't get it back. So you got to be smart about it, right? Like you got to tackle a mission smart. Like you can't go in there. You can't go into a third level mission or 3-star mission and with a pistol and no armor, right? And expect to actually beat it, and then just come back for your shit repeatedly. Like I don't like that. What I was gonna say earlier, and I trailed off as I usually do, was that in the description they said that Deadside has a PvE mode, and they used that phrase that I don't like. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Well, no, that sounded kind of dramatic. Let me rephrase that. It doesn't make me feel uncomfortable. It it doesn't sit well with me. I guess that's the same fucking thing, right? So I don't know. Saying that it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me sound whiny. I feel like I'm being like prissy. But what I'm saying is I don't like the fact that he used sentence that I see a lot in these type of games that are mostly meant they are mostly meant for PvP but also have a PvE mode to them. And that phrase is like, this is a good place to like practice for PvP. It's a phrase that's similar to that. I'll give you the exact same phrase that he used, or Bad Pixel used. Sorry. Where is it? And I've seen a very similar, and sometimes here it is. PvE servers are more chill experience where you can interact with other players and can't fight each other or raid or steal each other's bases. We recommend this mode to learn the game's mechanics. That's the line. That's the line. We recommend this mode to learn the game's mechanics. And it's like, but like, is PvE mode a mode? It's, can I just stay there, or do I have? Is this just a giant training ground? Is that essentially what you're saying? Like, oh, this is the baby mode, and then you go to the real mode, right? Which brings me to my next point, which is like, you know, understandable, because in its at its core, you can play this game PvE. I've done it before. I had a lot of fun. I'm doing it now. I'm having a lot of fun. But in its core, you can tell this is supposed to be a PvP game, right? Listen, at the end of the day, this is how I feel. Even if you don't agree with me, or even if I don't agree with it, right? What is the main purpose of a video game, right? I could boil it down to one word, and I could barely do that with anything in life. Life is too it's not black and white. You know, there's too many shades of gray for me to give you a definitive answer on something. But with video games, it's that one rare occasion where I can give you a definitive answer on the purpose of a video game, right? Sure, there's lots of reasons why you would want to play a video game, but the number one reason always remains the same. It all boils down to one word: fun. Fun. Fun, right? If you look at the first video games, right, they all had that in common, which is, we're trying to make a fun game. Back then, storylines weren't even a thing. Like, like, think about, like, pre Atari. Like, I guess I don't know if it's MS DOS, but like the computer days. I am totally, that's a foreign, old computer tech is an old foreign language to me because I don't know much about it. Oh shit, am I still recording? Oh, I am. So, what the hell is this? All right. So, where was I going? So back then, they didn't even have emphasis on characters or storylines. They just fun. Put as many points as you can on the board. What are the points for? I don't know. They're arbitrary. My points are higher than yours, so I guess I'm better. Oh, cool. Look at Pong, one of the first popular video games ever. It's just two paddles and a little ball. What was the point of that? Fun, competitive, fun, fun, fun. What does this have to do with Deadside? This is just a very long-winded and twisted way of me saying that I don't like the formula of making a bunch of progress, dying, and then losing all of it. Now, that sounds completely contradictory, or it's contradicting what I said earlier. That's exactly what I wanted in the PvE mode. Let me explain. So, games like Tarkov, they don't capture my attention for too long. They're awesome. At one point I thought it would. I'm like, this is probably a game I could see myself playing from time to time, but I had my fill. And it gets tiring losing all your shit, right? Now, I get it. You're supposed to not have gear fear, and I get it. I've done that. As a matter of fact, that's what kept me playing Tarkov. That sting that you feel when you lose all your shit, and then that sting multiplies when you lose all your shit to like something that was unfair, that was beyond your control, like maybe some sort of a server issue or something like that. Next thing you know, you get shot up because the game froze up or something, and it's like that is doubly, you feel that pain even more, right? I learned to just swallow that pain, right? Every single time I died, I was just like, fuck this gear, it means nothing, just keep playing, keep playing. And I had a lot of fun thinking like that. But I realized that like all I'm doing is just shoving the pain down. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, it's still there. I'm just ignoring it. And I'm just like, you know what? I want a game with progress. I want to play a game where I actually progress. Even if I die, I still want to keep my shit. I don't have to keep all my shit. I'll take a hit. I'll take a, I feel like I do. I don't want things. I don't want things handed to me easily, right? So even if I play a game like Stalker, right? I play on master difficulty, right? Even if I can save when I want, I try not to save scum, and I'm very good at it, right? I'm very good with discipline, so I tell myself only save in POIs, right? Don't save in between. And for the most part, I would say 90% of the time, I stuck to my own rule. So what I'm saying is I'm already getting punished by my difficulty and also by my own personal rules that I place on myself. So I don't need to get punished by losing all my progress too. You know what I mean? That's my view on it. So where was I? So if you look at like games like Tarkov and games like Deadside, right? They're games that like, for lack of a better example, they're like edging, right? Like you're about to come, but you don't. So like let me explain. Like in Tarkov you get all this gear, right? Oh shit, I'm about to come. I'm about to like beat this raid, then you die. Right? You lose all your shit. And now you don't come. And then you repeat that process over and over again. Every now and then you get a release, right? When you finally beat the raid. But like what makes games like Deadside work in PvP mode is that all of your precious gear would eventually be lost, right? So you have to repeat the process, and that's what keeps you playing for hours, right? Some people find that process fun as fuck. And I can see that, right? I can see that. It's like, oh, it's not about the progress. It's about the fun. It's about the journey, right? I just want to sit around and play the game. Look at games like Gary's Mod, Arma 3, Arma Reforger. There's no real progression. It's just you jump in and you play for a while in this digital toy box, and then you put the toys away, and that's it. When you come back, it's a fresh start. No progress. You don't keep shit from your last play session. You don't keep skills. You don't keep gear. You don't keep perks. It's a brand new session every single time, right? I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. I want something to prove to myself that I've been playing this for a while. Like maybe I've got top gear, top gun, top perk, whatever. I want something to go, holy shit, I put mad hours and look, I got that. A fucking medal. Give me something. Like even if Arma 3 had like a medal system where it's just like, okay, you know, they're arbitrary. There's not much I can do with these medals, but at least I can tell myself, like, look, I got the golden medal. That means I played, 100 games in total or something like that. 100 successful sessions, or kind of like trophies almost, but not really. I guess all I'm saying is that, or maybe you can exchange those for certain gears that are, I don't know, man. This is where it gets tricky, right? Because now we're talking like microtransactions essentially, right? Microtrans. Sorry, I just hit the mic. Let me adjust that. Microtransactions in Armor would be so fucking weird, right? Although, man, look, when Armor 4 comes out, that might happen. You never know. So that process of edging, dying, losing all your shit, coming back, grabbing your shit, it, that's PvE mode, right? PvE mode doesn't have the edging. You actually can keep all your shit, right? Which to me, that's the mode that suits me best. But it's also boring because you got a bunch of shit. There's no threat of you really losing your shit. This is what I mean, right? When I say that I wish PvE mode, and maybe, like I said, if you run a server, maybe you can set it up to these certain parameters. But this is why I would like PvE mode to be you lose all your shit. I just don't want to fight players because players cheat, and also even if they don't cheat and they're just that damn good, like I don't associate relaxation with competitiveness. Competitiveness makes me sweaty. It makes me alert. It makes me rigid like a cat when I'm playing this game. My fucking back is arched. All the fucking hairs on my body are standing up. I'm like full into it, right? That's not how you relax. Dude, even when I play intense PvE games, I don't even know that I'm like my neck is like motionless, my back is motionless. By the time I relax, I'm like, fuck, my it feels so stiff. My neck. Because like I didn't even realize that subconsciously I'm just contracting that motherfucker while I'm like playing. And I'm like, bro, that's not good. It's not good for your body. I'm like, I need to play a game where I'm like a little more, loosey goosey or whatever. So my ideal version of Deadside would be PvE mode that you can lose all your shit once you die. That's my idea. And I'm gonna see if I can find a server Well, like I said yesterday, I saw G Porter was renting their Deadside servers out for like $7 for like 3 days, and that's perfect because that gives me enough time to see if I want to extend it and maybe play like that. But also, I do like the fact that it's like an MMO light in the sense that you see a bunch of other players running around doing missions. Some of them are assholes; they would steal your loot after you're about to finish the mission, and some of them are cool. They come and help out, and they don't want anything in return. That's every game, right? You'll have your assholes and your cool dudes, but overall, I guess Deadside is a game that even in 1.0, it's a pretty solid release. It's a strong release, and this game is only going to improve from this moment on. I don't know that for sure, of course. No one does, but I do feel that. I feel it. If my feeling means anything, if it's any credibility to my feeling, I feel like it's going to be a good one, good game. It's not I wouldn't say that it's quite revolutionary just yet, but it might be hitting that note. Like it's so close to me. It's so close to becoming a game that like I hope gets ported over to consoles eventually once they get the good mechanics down. I hope it doesn't lose its identity in the sense that it becomes like these fast-paced arcadey shooters that are just infesting the market, right? I hope it's a little more hardcore like it usually is. You still have to rely on your skill. There's still a high degree of realism to it. It's not an aim assist or you can slow down time or bullet time. Not listen, those mechanics are badass for particular games, right? But not for games like this that are like light milsims or moderate like military simulators. I do hope it keeps its identity, but man, like what a solid release. I'm very more than satisfied with my purchase, and it deserves a 1.0 release, which is like that's hard to say, right? Because like I've just recently played about an hour of the new Stalker 2 uh after finishing the trilogy, and well, I've only played Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl for about an hour. So but from what I played, yes, it had some performance issues. I had to mess around with the settings, and even then I still wasn't truly satisfied with what I saw. I might have to play this game at 30 frames per second, which it's not the worst, but I would rather play 60 on high and 1080p. Like I don't even have a demanding. I told you before I got an AMD 6650 XT, right? Which it's not a fucking high end card at all. But I don't think it's low end neither. I think it's enough to run games at high 60 frames per second. That's all I need, right? 60 frames. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I do need to step up and beef up my card a bit. But I don't play in 4K. I don't play in 2K. I don't play in anything besides 1080p. And for the last year and some change, it's been worked out pretty well for me. Yeah, I feel like with more mechanics, what would I like to see, right? When can I say, me specifically, that this game is ready for consoles and also ready for more exposure? When they have more mission variety. Maybe some missions where you have to defuse bombs, maybe some missions where you have to save some hostages, maybe some more inventive missions, but just a variety of missions. Because right now it's pretty much just literally you go from one point of interest to another point of interest, and it's either hard, easy. It's either easy, medium, hard, and I think epic. I think those are the four difficulty settings for each POI, and that's okay. But it's like some more. Some of them are more skilled. Some of them are more geared. That's cool and all, but it's like it's pretty much the same thing. You just go in there, you shoot, collect gear. Good enough, but like I said, it would be cool to maybe have a mission where you kind of race against time. Maybe have a mission where you have to make sure that the hostages come out safe and sound. Maybe other types of missions that are a little more inventive. They do have this helicopter crash mission where you have to like get these particular keys from downed helicopters, and then you have to kill the pilots or whatever. And that's cool. I like the variety in that, and I believe those are necessary to get some key cards to get into the end game bunkers and stuff like that. Maybe I'm wrong. A lot has changed that I don't know about. A lot of stuff under the hood too, but this game is so fucking close for like a global recognition. I do believe that global recognition in the sense of like Tarkov or maybe not Call of Duty. Call of Duty is on a different level. It's like everyone knows Call of Duty or Counter Strike, but like at least nearby. You can say it's kind of in the concession stand at the ballpark. Like it's nearby. It's not on the level, but I do believe that this game has so much like fun and so much content, and it's pretty polished, all things considered. Um, yeah, like just man, add some mission varieties, add some more mechanics for healing. That way you can make it kind of hardcore-ish. Um, of course, keep adding POIs and keep adding missions that keep expanding the map. Add more vehicles. Of course, you want to cram pack this motherfucker. So, but it's not. I would say it's like 80% cooked, right? Even though it's a 1.0 release, everything, no major complaints. It's just it needs more content, right? And I believe that the content that it has now, first of all, for $25, well fucking worth it, 100%, right? Because it's $25. But like right now, currently as it stands, it's not going to hold your attention for long, right? You might play for a couple days and then kind of just put it away, and that's because it's not as deep. It used to be much more shallow. I would say it's more moderate now. I do believe maybe give it another year. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but like maybe another year, and during this year, just hit it, right? Just add missions, maybe mission variety types. Maybe add more vehicles, expand the map some more, and then I can see this game, like I said, at least being in the same ballpark as the big shooters. Right? I hope they don't fumble the ball and this ends up just becoming an obscure shooter among the sea of other ones. Because I have a lot of faith in this one. I had a lot of fun with this one. It's a good balance between realism and arcadiness, right? Kind of like Insurgency Sandstorm. Maybe not as hardcore. That game is fucked up. It's a fucked up game. Even PvE mode. And when I say fucked up, I mean that in the best way possible. It's a hardcore game. It's mad fucking fun. But it's so hard. And I feel like I'm being competitive against AI. You know what I mean? I'm not, it's me and a team fighting bots that are fucking crazy. They're hardcore. They're shooting at you from angles you don't even know existed. And it's like I'm like, whoa, whoa, I gotta stop. I'm doing the thing again. I'm doing the fucking cat thing again, where I'm like all rigid, and I'm like, okay, I don't like that. I don't like. I'm like, I want to relax. I'm fucking sweating. My armpits are fucking wet. So, so close, man. 1.0, solid 1.0 release, phenomenal price, right? Right now it's $20. Even if it's not $20, it's $25. I'm sure you can find it cheaper on other parts of the internet. But support them. Support Bad Pixels. It's only $25, and goddamn, you will get your money's worth. If you like shooters, if you like a little hint of realism, you're gonna enjoy this one a lot, man, for sure. And for $25, the content that it currently has is a steal. It is well worth its price, right? But like I said, if it wants to kind of, in my opinion, for a gamer, like I can tell you what I want. I did tell you what I want from the game. It doesn't still quite have it. It's very, very fucking close, but it still doesn't quite have it. Once it adds these things, the mission variety, more POIs, basically beef the game up just a little bit more, right? Let it cook just a little bit more. It's going to be a force, and I hope it is. I really hope it is. I wish nothing but success for this game, and I hope if it does achieve success, I hope it doesn't lose its identity, and also I hope that it becomes a game that is more well known. And I always gauge the success and the popularity of a game by my younger friends. I have like a coworker who's always playing the most trendiest popular games. Right now the flavor of the week is Marvel's Rivals. I believe that's what the game's called. It's like a hero. I'm not a fan of hero shooters. I've tried them and it's just I don't know. I'm just not digging them. But whatever, man. That's his flavor of the month, right? Sorry, flavor of the week. It would make my heart swell if one day, maybe a year from now, maybe 2 years from now, he texts me and goes, "Hey, you ever heard of Deadside?" Yeah, yeah. I'm playing it with my friends. I'm gonna be like, my friend, do I have some stories for you? So I'm getting out of here. I gotta pee. I'm hungry. I gotta work out. Don't want to work out, but I have to. Talk to you guys later.